welcome to the 2013 forward-compatible GOTYs. We're going to be discussing the best games of 2013 across 14 categories. To begin with, we're going to start with 2013's Story of the Year. And the nominees are... Our first category for the 2013 forward-compatible awards is going to be the 2013 Story of the Year. Who'd like to kick us off? You're kind of setting the tone for the entire show.
I'll set the tone.
It's going to suck.
The Last of Us is the story of the year. Why? Because it's great.
It's pretty good. Jason?
Yeah. It would have to be Walking Dead, Season 2, Episode 1 for Story of the Year. Even though it's not the full story, just the more difficult decisions that you have to make and the path that they're leading you on, that would have to be the story of the year for me.
For me, it's far and away The Last of Us. I don't know. To me, nothing else even came close. It was the one game that has ever done this to me, and that is such a dire situation that you want to keep seeing to completion. So, definitely The Last of Us.
Sometimes a video game just makes you say, "What the f***?" And here's the nominees.
All right, we're going to be hopping into the what the fuck moment of the year. This is something that caught us completely off guard, and we're like, what the fuck?
It could either be good, it could be bad, it could be just weird. You know, we're kind of leaving it up to our own interpretations. Yeah. Mark!
Fuck you, Sega! Company Heroes 2 was nowhere near as good as the first one.
That's it? What the fuck, Sega?
What the fuck?
Mine has to go to Gears Award Judgment. How do you take such a phenomenal franchise and just crap all over it? And there was nothing broken about the game. It just didn't live up to what they've presented us with before. And People Can Fly, or whatever they're called now, Epic Poland,
Yeah.
They did a great job. They didn't... They added their own little flavor onto it, but with the lack of horde mode and just like the very
I was gonna
boring,
shit on them for bad characters. Like I don't give
very
a crap
boring
about
story.
any of them really. Like you're like Baird and Cole, cool. They'll be
How
able
do
to
you
carry
take
it.
like the two greatest supporting characters in the franchise and you make them uninteresting?
Yeah.
I didn't even hear Coltrane runs on whole grain, baby. Woo!
No, there was none of that charm.
Yeah, exactly. It lacked that Gears charm.
Then multiplayer was gone.
Yeah.
It was like,
How do you get rid of horde?
I don't know.
Yeah, that just doesn't make sense. Stupid.
It's stupid. Mine,
like, oh, yeah.
mine was the 3DS getting rid of Swap Note. I got the 3DS quite late, so when I found out they were taking that away, I got quite upset because I like screwing around with my friends and sending them stupid crap, and a few bad eggs ruined it for everyone, and I was very upset on the way that Nintendo handled it. So that is my what the fuck moment of the year.
Thank you. And the next category for the forward compatible GOTY Awards is Multiplayer Game of the Year. And the nominees are...
Alright, the next category we're going to be discussing is the Multiplayer Game of the Year. So,
I'll start it off. Yeah? Alrighty. I'm also going to give this one to Killzone Shadowfall. The main reason that is the kind of customized playlists, and most of all is Warzone. Warzone is absolutely awesome in my opinion, switching between a search and destroy to a team deathmatch to defense and like a capture and hold type of game style. and the actual classes where they're only going with 3 of them. Everything is unlocked in the beginning. You don't have to go through the grind that like Battlefield 4 is of getting a new gun, or you don't have to play 10 games to get anything. You have your gun, you can get a few upgrades. It's nice, and overall
Functions.
a joy.
I am picking Forza 5. I have not done the traditional versus races yet. The reason that I bring this up is this is a perfect example and a great showcase of Microsoft's evolving online that they're doing. Just doing your career races incorporates your friends. And if they've played the game, they're building up their drivatars. And the more they play, the more it drives like them and simulates them. So you're always playing with your friends in the race. So for being a non-traditional multiplayer, I'm going with Forza because that was probably the most unique multiplayer experience I've had in years.
I'm actually going to go with The Last of Us.
It's very good.
They had a very interesting take on multiplayer. At first, I initially didn't think that game needed it, but once you actually get to play it, it's very similar to playing more of the campaign, where it's like very dark and dreary. It's unlike anything else I've ever played in the multiplayer realm. It's kind of creepy, and there's like always this sense of not having enough ammo, and you're scrounging and scavenging for just whatever you can find in hopes of staying alive a few more seconds on these maps. It's actually a lot of fun.
Webster's dictionary defines surprise an unexpected or astonishing event, fact, or thing. That's a noun. Verb of something unexpected caused someone to feel mild astonishment or shock. The surprise of the year is...
All right, next we're going to be tackling the surprise game of the year, something that perhaps didn't get much coverage or was kind of shunned by everyone else in the industry, and then you played it for yourself, and you're kind of like, it's pretty good, it's pretty good.
That's what this one should have been called. It's good. It's good.
It's pretty good.
All right. I'll start us off here. It's going to be real easy. It's Rise. What do you mean, damn it?
That's what I'm doing.
Well, then we agree on it. But it's definitely going to be Rise. The game got crapped on from day one. From back when it was announced like 2 years ago as a Kinect first-person game.
To be fair, it did look like hot garbage back
I mean,
then.
the visuals looked good, but
Yeah.
that was about it. But, I mean, the game scored mediocre at best, and it just didn't get the credit that it deserved. I'll let you talk about it a little bit more. So
Yeah, I'll go. I had an absolute blast with it. It didn't hurt that I went in with such low expectations because of how much trash I was hearing about that game. When I sat down and played it, very good game. The combat was fun. I felt it kept it fresh enough throughout the relatively short campaign that I didn't get all the repetition that everybody else was yelling at the game for. And it had one of the coolest endings in recent memory for me.
And again, as we've pointed out several times, it's very much like a Call of Duty style campaign set in ancient Rome. You know,
Very fast paced, a lot of action.
One of the only games that I've played that the Kinect actually worked really well for. I don't know if you used it at all.
I didn't use it at all.
I did. There's certain sequences where you tell it fire volley and things like that and catapult, and it actually registered it, and it was actually quicker than holding down the button to let the little bar fill up.
Now that just leaves me. That's going to be Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. That game got crapped on when they originally started releasing screenshots saying, what the hell is this? Looks like a bad 80s movie. That thing finally came out. It did have good reviews, unlike Rise. It came out and it played awesome. I mean, you had the, the left stick, left trigger, no, what the heck, left bump button would make you flick off the, whoever was in front of you. The overall, I guess, Tron-like graphics. It was fun. It was a great addition to Far Cry from last year.
Power Glove, the video game heavy metal band, does a song for it.
Nice.
Yeah. And I believe right now it might be over, but it was on sale.
Yeah,
on,
it was.
on
It's over right
Xbox
now.
Live. Is it over?
Yeah, I believe so.
See, you fucked up.
And the next category. Some games you probably haven't ever heard of. They're the indie titles. You probably should go pick them up. I've been playing them for years. And the nominees are...
Indie arcade holds a special place in my heart because it's where all the new ideas really come from. So today we're going to talk about, or now we're going to talk about some of our favorite indie and arcade games of the year. Mark, do you want to start?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was plenty of good ones that came out this year. The one that definitely stood out the most, though, was Stanley Parable to me.
Why'd you like it so much?
I liked it so much because there was so many different branching paths throughout the whole game, and you had a choice of where you went, and every path was vastly different each and every time, with it always winding up with you back at the start, and that was awesome. And I still haven't seen every ending of the game, so it's got some replayability by far.
As for myself, I'm personally going to go with Guacamelee. I'm really into the old school platformers. I really like the Metroidvania feel that game incorporated into a new modern age game with prettier graphics and all that stuff. It's a brilliant game. If you haven't played it yet, I'd highly suggest going to do so. It was a lot of fun. It was funny, entertaining, hard. It got insanely hard toward the end. All around amazing arcade title.
I personally am going with Gone Home. Not a long game, not an expensive game, but a very engrossing story that's well written and a great example of telling a story through gameplay and an interactive experience. I don't think anything's touched it yet in that regard.
Our next category is PC Game of the Year, otherwise known as Personal Computer Game of the Year. Note, for this category, these are games that exclusively released for the PC and not on any other consoles. The nominees are...
So for our next category, we're going to go with the master race, the PC. So if you want to start us off, what was your favorite PC game?
It's the same as my indie arcade title, Gone Home. PC is great because so many indie titles thrive on the platform, and Gone Home just blew me away so much because it's not just an indie game; it's also a very good-looking indie game. Just the whole experience was fantastic. Most exclusives on PC these days are indie or RTS. So for me, Gone Home.
Very nice. For myself, even though I'm going to get hate for it, SimCity was still my favorite PC game of the year. I had a phenomenal time in the overall regions, I guess, which was a very good addition. They had about up to 8 people all side by side. I mean, I was the villain if you ever saw the series we put together. And sending my criminals to fuck up everyone else's towns was amazing. And overall, there was some hiccups for people. I personally think I got out scot-free for most things. But overall, as a game, really good addition to the series, no matter what people say.
Next up is the portable game of the year, and the nominations are...
This next category is going to be the portable game of the year. Keep in mind this encompasses both cell phones, tablets, the 3DS, as well as the Vita.
Both.
Both of the four.
Both.
Both of the four of them.
2 sets of 2.
2 sets of 2. Both of the both. Of 2 of both.
Like the
Portable of the year!
It's both squared.
So,
Mark.
for me,
Or Moss, go ahead.
Zelda. Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds. Great Zelda game. Not just great Zelda game, but great video game. A Link to the Past is my favorite game ever, and this is like the sequel that I've been waiting for 20 years. So, Link Between Worlds.
Mine recently got overtaken by the winner, which to me is also a Link Between Worlds. Up until very recently, it was Killzone Mercenary, but that unfortunately got surpassed. A Link Between Worlds is just too good. It was too much fun. I'm also a big fan of the older Zelda, so it was great to get the sequel I've been waiting for, especially because I haven't been so hot on the last 2 or 3 Zeldas, and this one came back to what I love. So.
Mine would be Fire Emblem. Just
What system's that for?
3DS.
What system did you sell?
My 3DS. I played through the thing twice and probably started a third playthrough at some point, and things got a lot of depth. Some of the nicest cutscenes.
No feet.
Any game. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess they're just little. Great combats, good characters, and I enjoy the crap out of it.
Well, I besides counting mobile and tablet, which I don't think anybody's going to vote for, Angry Birds Star Wars 2. Just recently,
I forgot about that. Hold on, I changed my vote.
Reacquired a handheld after not having one for like 5 years. I got 2 games, as everybody knows. I got Link Between Worlds and I got Pokemon. I got them just a couple days apart, and I put down A Link Between Worlds and played the hell out of Pokemon. Invested close to 60 hours into the game. That you would think would be my choice for Game of the Year, but it's not. I have to go with A Link Between Worlds because even though Pokemon is crack, it's a lot easier to play in on the go kind of situation. I'm definitely savoring Zelda a lot more. I think I've got 22 of those little
The My Mice?
in my minds already. I'm in low rule. I've only done 2 of the dungeons, and now I'm just wandering around finding all the different portals. Just kind of relearning where everything is. So that would definitely have to be my portable game of the year. So I think Fire Emblem was...
Fire Emblem is a good choice, though.
It is. At least you didn't say, like...
I'm also a fanboy of the
at least you
series
weren't
as
like
well.
at least you weren't like Mass Effect Infiltrator.
No.
It exists.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, I should have thought of that.
Damn it.
These days, multi-platform games is where it's at. And the nominees are...
Next category up is going to be the multi-platform game of the year. This can incorporate any or all of the systems as long as it's on more than one. So,
Start off. All right. My pick, BioShock Infinite. I like the ending of it by far more than anything else in the game, but the actual skylines and jumping between rails is really cool. I personally like the gunplay in it. I felt that each gun was very unique, felt very well, had very well developed characters, and overall, it's good.
it's good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Me, I'm going with GTA 5 for multi-platform. It's by far the best Grand Theft Auto that they have ever made. Phenomenal story if you can kind of get through the boring, the kind of just to extend the story. The story was really good. Visuals were great. After that initial 5-minute load that the game had to do, I don't ever think I saw a load screen unless you were going into a big mission, into a heist. The heists were awesome. It felt like I was playing a movie.
I'm going to go with BioShock Infinite by a mile. This game blew me away. I'm a big BioShock fan to begin with, and I was very nervous of them leaving Rapture in the first place for Columbia, but it turned out to be probably the best BioShock they've ever made. The story was amazing. I loved the skyline as well.
Mm-hmm.
The combat was great, not repetitive. A lot of great enemies to go through. And Elizabeth was freaking awesome. It was very cool playing with her. Booker DeWitt is one of the great all-time protagonists ever now. I loved everything about it. The Songbird is just an amazing game front to back. If you haven't played it yet, my God, go do so. For our next category, we're actually going to be combining two bitter rivals in the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One into one category we're going to be calling the Next Gen Game of the Year. And the nominees are... Well, the next category up is, of course, the Next Generation Game of the Year. Keep in mind, this has to be a Next Gen only, and we combined the Xbox One and the PS4 since they just launched so late in the year that we don't feel they could have produced their own category yet. So we combined them. Jason, what do you think, sir?
It's really easy for me. I'm picking Forza.
Forza 5.
Whatever one it is. Does it really need a number?
Yes.
No, it's just Forza. It's Forza.
What'd you like about it, sir?
Top Gear.
Top Gear? That's your selling point?
Say the Top Gear in. More.
No, I've never been a big fan of the simulation racing games. It just looked absolutely gorgeous. That's what sold me on it. But I fell in love with it because it doesn't feel like a Gran Turismo. You don't have to delve into all the tweaking and the boring stuff of tuning the vehicles and stuff. Like for you, you
I like that stuff.
made yeah, exactly. And maybe once in a while it's cool for me, but I'd rather just auto do it, head on to the next race. But I guess just the visuals, the gameplay, the way that it incorporates the rumble and the triggers and the controllers, it just showcases the console really well.
This functioning microphone. My pick for this next gen category is Killzone. I mean, there's not much competition at this point, but the multiplayer is kind of what's selling me on it. Because if we were doing everything, currently my next gen favorite is probably Assassin's Creed. But since it's next gen only, we're doing Killzone, and it's the nicest looking game. I mean, it's not my my pick of like favorite of the year, but it's very limited of what we had.
It functions.
Controls.
It's good. It's good. Tony?
I actually, I'm also going to go with Killzone Shadowfall. I think I've played every exclusive that's come out on both systems. So I know Killzone's probably the best. It has a really good campaign. It's probably the best looking. That and Forza 5. It's hard to decipher because they're on two opposing consoles. They're far and away the best looking games on next gen so far. I really enjoyed the campaign. I haven't even tried the multiplayer. I just don't care about it. Maybe I'll give it a shot.
Were you
in the
level like
future.
50?
Are you really?
Yeah.
It's insane. Wow. But yeah.
It's like me and Forza. He's like level 2.
But yeah, amazing campaign. A lot of fun. Good stuff.
Our next category is Nintendo Game of the Year. The nominees are... So our next category is Nintendo Wii U Game of the Year. Tony?
I'm going to go with Super Mario Brothers Cats, or what it's probably more commonly referred to as Super Mario Brothers 3D World. To me, I'm a huge Mario fan, as I've said many a times. But I've been getting relatively tired of the 2D side of that. The Mario games have gotten split up into a 3D universe as well as the 2D platforming. In the last 4 or 5 2Ds, I've played them, but they don't feel like they've innovated much. It's more of the same, just slight variations. Whereas the 3D world, this has been such a major leap forward in what they've been doing. It's truly a masterpiece. And every level is so much different than what you just played before it. If you don't really like the ice world, it's cool, don't worry. Sand level's coming up in just a couple minutes. And they're all so much fun. They're loaded with secrets to explore. The replayability on all the levels is definitely there because they just don't give you enough time to explore every nook and cranny of any given map during any playthrough, so you almost have to go through it a couple times to collect everything. And the cherry is quickly coming is quickly becoming one of my all-time favorite Mario power-ups, like across the near 30-year history. And for those who don't know, it splits you up into multiple Marios, and the more cherries you collect, the more Marios you become. But you control them all at once, and the levels are so intelligently designed. When those have to come about, there's ways to block yourself. Because, I mean, if you're 3 different Marios and you push up, all 3 are going. But if you go to the right, you could block, like, the one all the way over here with a pillar standing up to, like, work everything around and do everything you need to do. It's just, top to bottom, it's brilliant. It really is.
I like 3D World, and I like to emphasize that this was a tough decision for me. And I think Wind Waker HD, just because it's an HD remake, I'm pushing it aside. But I was torn between 2 games. Really like Pikmin 3, but I'm going to actually give it to Lego City Undercover. That was my favorite game of the Wii U this year. It just seemed, it's 3D. It's like Lego, more kid-friendly, more humorous Grand Theft Auto to me. That's the way it really is. And anybody who hasn't played it, I think you're really missing out on the Wii U if you're looking for a game. But that was my favorite game for the Wii U. It's funny. It's really funny. Like, really funny.
Like, haha funny?
Like
a clown?
Like, you're in the prison, and there's, like, a voice talking to you, and it's in the voice of, from The Shawshank Redemption.
Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, like
Really?
his voice. I believe it's actually Morgan Freeman does the voice.
I gotta check that out, though.
Yeah, it's oh god, it's so good.
Xbox off. Yes. And if you're still with us, the nominees for our Xbox category are...
All right. The part of the day has come where we're going to be discussing the Xbox 360. Jason, what do you feel won?
Do I feel one?
What do you feel won?
Oh, what do I feel? One. W-O-N, not O-N-E. It's because I processed it as O-N-E. I'm like, what? What do I feel? One. It's really easy. It's Battle Blocks Theater. Exclusive, made by the Behemoth. Phenomenal platformer. Really cool co-op. And it's one of those quirky, weird games like they typically make. So that's my pick.
I'm also doing Battle Blocks Theater. That game was awesome. I had a lot of fun. The ramps up the difficulty near the end, but other than that, it's a fantastic platformer, and it's fun to be a addicted to your co-op partner in that game. It made it fun.
Very true.
Dan Paladin.
As for myself, I'm actually going to go with Gears of War Judgment. Clearly the worst in the franchise, but still among the top Xbox 360 games that have come out. I thought you were going to throw your hat at me. Still a good game, functioned well. It didn't have like broken controls or anything. Sure, we didn't love it as much as we liked some of the others.
Multiplayer was so good!
2 weapons. Changed out the... Controls weren't broken.
Multiplayer was so much fun.
So I guess we know what wins Xbox 360 Game of the Year, and it's clearly Battle Blocks Theater.
Battle Blocks Theater!
What does it mean to be great? The PS3 is great by releasing a bunch of great games on a great console. What's next for this greatness? Greatness awaits on our PlayStation 3 Game of the Year. All right, next up, we're going to be discussing the PlayStation 3's Game of the Year. Who'd like to kick us off?
I'll kick us off.
Mark Sif?
That one is going to be pretty easy for me, and it's going to be The Last of Us for same reasons I've already stated with that game. It's just awesome the whole way through. It's a struggle. It's a very good survival game.
For me, I am going to go with Beyond Two Souls. I just like that style of game. Mark shaking his head.
That desert.
I can't get enough of the whole, just the scenes like when you get to choose what you want to say, and I feel attached to the character that way, and I feel sorry for her at times. But good game. I like it. I like that style of game. This was one of my most anticipated games this year, and to me at least, I thought it met my own personal hype, and I really liked it. Not to take away from The Last of Us, which I haven't beaten, but I've played some of it, and I like it. All in all, this was a astonishingly good year for the PlayStation.
Yeah,
And
I agree. As for me, I'm going to have to go with my main man, Mark. See that alliteration right there?
you
I'm
could
gonna
have
go-
said my main man Moss.
Yeah, but I
That means you have to agree with you.
You disagree with your main man Moss.
I
and
disagree with my main man, Moss. So I got to go with my main man, Mark. Over to my main man, left.
Over, meow.
Last of Us. Truly one of the best games of the whole generation. In every sense of the way. Like, I don't know. A few games have made me feel the way that game did as I was playing through it.
Just feel good.
Not in a good way, but all pretty good at the same time.
Yeah.
You were always curious as to what was happening next. Nothing ever had me that hooked, like where you just like you couldn't put it down because stuff was getting so bad, and it just kept getting worse. You always thought the light was like there was always this carrot on a stick. Like, don't worry, just get through this, and it's going to get better, and it never does. It just keeps getting worse until the credits roll. So
Yeah.
Video games come and they go, but very few games are memorable enough to be considered for our next category, the game of the generation.
this next category is quite the biggie. We figured this is our one time every 7 or 8 years to do so. So we're going to tackle the best game of the generation.
We're making it bigger.
I know, I was coming this way.
Yeah. Well,
Sir,
for it.
why don't you set the tone?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to set the tone. I don't like setting tones.
All right, I'll set the tone then. Mine has got to be Heavy Rain. I think it revolutionized that. It was like so unique, so different, so much fun, so.
Everything that Beyond Two Souls is not. I got you.
Yes.
Oh.
That fucking deserts.
Oh.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Tony
'cause,
went there.
It's nothing like Indigo Prophecy at all.
No.
It was.
What's
if
that?
there was games like it before, I'd never played. I mean, that was. I don't even know what you were referencing, but
There's David
The first
Cage's
one.
early game.
that. Yeah, I love that game.
Nice. Okay, so prior to this discussion, we kind of opened it up and said if we can't settle on one specific game from a franchise, we can just go ahead and call out the franchise as the game of the generation. And mine's definitely got to be Gears of War as a whole, minus Judgment.
Just leave that one out there.
It didn't count.
Do you
It
have a
happened.
favorite in the series?
I do. I would have to say two. Two would be my favorite. It's a tough call. I want to say that I like Horde 2.0 in Gears 3 better, but I invested a lot more time into
Yeah.
to 2. I liked the conclusion of the story in 3, but I liked the ending of the story in 2 better. So it's really hard to pick. And see, I played them out of order. I started with Gears 2, then went to 1, and then played 3, and then I just threw away Judgment. But for all the crap that it gets for being the Pro Gamer series and everything, I think if you really look at the franchise and look at the story that they're trying to tell, there's a lot of heart and a lot of soul there, and you actually feel for the characters.
So this next one, I have
For the
to.
video cuts.
This next one
Please
is
stand by.
where I have to talk for two people because Brian is not with us.
Just gonna do this again. You did this already.
Ah! That is the game of the generation right there.
Play
That
the
is.
logo.
And 7.
That is Mass Effect as a whole franchise. That thing is the most glorious piece of game ever invented by man.
Yeah.
Was it Ron Burgundy right there?
Unless you spend like 17 hours wandering a desolate planet in the first one.
First one, even though it had its faults, the story was, I mean, at the time, the combat seemed alright, and it was, if you went back after playing the second one, was nearly unplayable. The story elements of it were great. I'm very glad they got rid of the exploration of any world you wanted. They narrowed it down, and the overall decision system influenced you know, a decision you made 100 hours ago made a decision in the third game. And overall, you got some of the most memorable characters. You got Garrus, you got Morden, you got Rex, you got Fenchep. And
You're giggling at me.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So just, I'm not gonna get the references, so go ahead.
Sven, whatever. So that is my game of the generation.
Did you bang that blue chick?
Tali?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, Tali. Yes.
Tali. Well, no, I mean, Miranda. I don't know. I bang Miranda
He
most
don't
of the
even
time.
know what he's talking about anymore.
No, I just can't remember her name.
I feel bad having to correct all my friends over here with
Oh,
the
please.
actual best game of the generation, which
Worst in the franchise.
If we're gonna go with franchise, it's definitely Uncharted, but specifically Uncharted 2, which was
Worst in the
a
franchise.
masterpiece by all accounts. It's the reason I play video games. I'm constantly hunting for that experience, and what that brought to me was unable to be put in words. It's the best story ever with the coolest cast of supporting characters. It's amazing from
He's gonna
front to
cry.
back. I love that fucking game. I don't give a shit. You guys make fun of me if you want. I don't care. This is the greatest game ever made. Uncharted 2. Game of the year every year.
No.
Fans are the lifeblood of the video game community.
Without fans, there are no video games.
Without video games, there's no forward-compatible podcast.
With no forward-compatible podcast, I've got nothing to do on Sunday.
If I'm not doing this on Sunday, I'm doing something else.
Guys, get to the point!
Oh, the fan choice of the year. Nominees are...
Guys, we're back on!
And the winner is...
The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
...2013 was a fabulous year with a bunch of amazing titles that were released. But there can only be one Game of the Year. And the nominees are... And the winner of the 2013 Forward Compatible Game of the Year is... The Last of Us.
I'm gonna present the award here, and we talked about this.
Please do it.
talked
I got it.
Dude.
I got it. Way to go, Naughty Dog. All right, guys. It is time that everyone has been waiting for. The 2013 Forward Compatible Podcast Game of the motherfucking year. 2013. I don't know if I said that yet.
We need an
Said
acronym
twice.
for that.
Huh? Oh! We're going to be handing them the golden controller, as it were.
No, I mean, I guess. We're just going to showcase it here.
Now, the way that this worked real quickly was, of course, we have Brian, who couldn't stick around for this one, but we have, the 5 people here, and of course, everybody's going to have differing opinions. But the way this worked out is we can all agree that the game that did win was very, very high on everybody's lists, and it was the most common denominator that everybody
They paid me
agreed.
off.
Everybody agreed was very well received, very well played, all that. So Of course, we're talking about Naughty Dog's The Last of Us. Anyway, want to kick us off?
AKA Uncharted 4.
Not even close.
I'll start off with the first 5 minutes of the game, or 15 minutes. That first scene just grabs you, and then the game just goes from there. It's a very emotional.
Grabs you by the short hairs?
Yeah. It's like sort of like evil, like what happens, like.
And it keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
And it keeps doing that throughout the game. It has these new pulls that just keep happening, and you just, I don't know, you just get so like wrapped up in the whole thing. And then they give you like these little trinkets of hope throughout the thing just to like pull it back away from you and screw you over worse and leave you in an even more dire situation. It's brilliant.
I really didn't play it. I did, however, watch, not on YouTube.
You don't watch Creatures?
No.
Creature streams.
I watched Angry Andy play it in my house, so that counts. On my system. On my television. With my controller.
With my copy of the game.
Yeah. But
I wanted to get in there.
just the from what I saw, the like 2 or 3 hours of the story and the gameplay, definitely I would have to agree. Just the atmosphere, the setting, that always impending doom feeling that you have, even from just watching it, not even playing it, you get that vibe and that feel.
My personal favorite thing about that game was the combat and how well balanced it was. It was 2 people on you, you were probably going to die. I mean, that's just how it was. It was brutal. The sound effects, I think, made it so much terrifying with some of the clickers. I mean, honestly, they had this one scene where you would get, bitten by them every time you would, get caught. And that noise is horrifying.
Yeah, it's some messed up shit, dude.
With going to the combat, I like how there's multiple ways to play. Like, you can run and gun and
You can be stealthy as...
Yeah. Or you can like throw
That
bricks
also
against the wall
depended
and try
on
to sneak by.
difficulty as well, because I personally played on hard, and there was no running gunning. There was not enough ammo for that. And I watched, you guys were talking about the normal and easy or whatever you guys were playing on. How you guys were in like the first 2 or 3 levels, and you had like full ammo and everything. It took me until about like halfway through the game to actually have full like ammo in.
Which isn't much. Full ammo's not a whole lot. And while we're on that, the crafting system is the one time in the history of video games I felt that it wasn't weird and tacked on. Because usually that whole making your own weaponry in the corner just takes you out of the experience. You're like, oh, now let me go to this workbench.
Thank you, Dead Rising.
And do this weird thing that like totally takes you out of the element. And Last of Us, I don't know how they did it. They made it feel like okay to be doing it, which was new to me. I don't know. Way better.
It's good. Tony?
It's pretty good. I think it was the best Resident Evil ever made.
Oh,
take that,
God.
Capcom. Oh.
It's a dirty.
Of course, he throws his hat and has to hit the hub. So, from what I can tell, we're still recording. So.
Hopefully. Best Resident Evil ever. Last of Us, Game of the Year.
Woo! Mass Effect!